You're watching the Boost Cut podcast on Low Boost Films.
All right, welcome to Boost Cut Podcast, Episode 2. This is the first time I'm having a guest on my show, so I wanted to have my all-time hero on the show, and that would be my father, Ken Torrigiani Sr. Now, he's a little nervous to be on camera. If you've ever watched the channel, he's usually not on camera, so I've been able to coax him out of his camera cave today, and we're going to talk a little bit about his favorite cars, and I think that was a good way to get him to actually talk. So, of course, you guys know that I'm obsessed with cars, but the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree because you've always been obsessed with cars.
My whole life.
What was the defining moment when you were young that you said, "Oh my God, I love cars"?
Well, I think I was 10 years old. And my father used to bring me to my Uncle Ray's gas station in Yonkers up on Odell Avenue, I think, or Midland Avenue. And I used to like hanging out in the gas station, and I used to be at 10 years old running out and pumping gas for my uncle and my father. So one day I was there pumping gas, and my cousin Ray, who was I think he was 17 at the time, this is 1970, pulls into the gas station in a brand new 1970 Ford Mach 1 Mustang 428 Super Cobra Jet drag pack. It was blue with a white interior, and as soon as it pulled in, you could hear him coming from blocks away. He pulls in, and he gets out of the car. He says, "Hey, Ken, you want to go for a ride?" And I'm like, yeah.
You can't say no to that.
So I get in the car, put a seatbelt on, because back then they did have seatbelts. He made sure about putting me in the seatbelt. So he takes me down. We get on the Major Deegan heading south. And as you get by the Yonkers racetrack, the sides of the Deegan are high walls. And that's where he just punches the car, pins me back in my seat. The windows were open, and all you hear is that car roaring down Major Deegan. And I was pinned to my seat, and at that point in my life, I was a car crazy ever since.
Well, I think that'll do it for anybody. Now, how long did he have that for?
He had that car for quite a few years. He used to race it. He drag raced. That car was built to be a drag race car. The dealership he bought it from bought it for drag racing. But he shows up the day it shows up on the showroom, and he wanted it so bad he bought it, and he brought it to the gas station. And I remember my father saying, "How are you ever going to change the spark plugs in that thing? Because you couldn't fit a pin down through that engine compartment."
Comparatively to the cars of today, it's super easy.
And that car is just one of the most beautiful cars I've ever seen. And
you never had a lot of Mustangs though.
I only had one Mustang growing up.
What'd you have?
I had a 71 Mustang, had a 351 Windsor in it, and wound up blowing the motor on that, and we wound up swapping out a 351 Cleveland and put that in there. And,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what are some of you've had a lot of cars yourself, even more so than what I remember as a kid, but what were some of the favorite cars you've owned?
I've had a 68 Camaro, 69 Camaro. The 69 I bought had no motor in it, but it was white with red interior, and it was a original 4-speed car. I believe it could have been a big block car. So I bought it with no motor, and me and Tone Politano built the motor and dropped it in there. I remember it was a 327. We had it all rebuilt with a 4-speed. Muncie 4-speed and 456 12-bolt rear. And I remember driving it down the street and going by my house, and my father's watching me go down the street. I turn around, come back up. I got my brother in the car, and I do a hole shot, and the rear end just snaps out of the car, and the hood, the engine almost pops out of the hood.
Damn!
My father goes, "You might as well drive down the street. All your parts are along the side of the road." But that was a fun car. And I had, when you were a baby, Mom, I bought a 1970 Chevelle Super Sport LS6 454. And, it was red, black interior, black stripes.
So basically,
You were in
Dom's car from Fast and the Furious.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it
I haven't
is.
seen the movie though, believe it or not, Fast and Furious. But that car, Mom used to drive it, and I used to drive another car to work. And she says, I can't drive this car no more. I'm like, why? She goes, every time I let the clutch out, the tires spin. So we wound up selling that. That's probably one of the regret cars I ever sold.
So I actually don't remember the Chevelle. The first car that I remember that I think that I really started liking cars was the Nova. And you said I used to call it the Ova.
I want to go in the Ova.
What was that? I don't even...
That wasn't even any real nice car. It was just a black 76 Nova with a 6-cylinder.
I just thought it was the coolest thing ever.
I had a Tornado, white Tornado 1980 with red leather and white car. It was a beautiful car. You didn't want to ride in it. I want to go in the Ova because it used to have a loud muffler. It was muffler.
That must have been what it is. It
had to be the muffler.
Yeah, it had
was
to be
definitely
the muffler.
the muffler.
I remember this. It was a bench seat, and I just remember the old style steering wheel. I just thought it was cool.
I had when I was a kid growing up, there were so many cars. I used to hang out at the gas station, Texaco, when I was like 14, and that's where I met a lot of guys that I still know today that have hot rods. But back then, in 1974, everybody had 60 series cars and early 70s, and they were making, taking cars, putting headers in them and high-rise manifolds.
Yeah.
And I used to watch them doing that stuff when I was pumping gas. I used to pump gas for free just to hang out there and ride around in their cars.
If you want to hear more of my interview with my dad, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. This is part 1 of a 3-part series of my entire interview with him. Again, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.